We sit here yesterday, talk our college rankings. Indiana holds the number 1 spot for the 4th straight week. Miami lost. They lost. This team loses. They move up. They move down. And then Indiana loses on the road. Who'd they play? Wow. Drawing a blank right now. Who was Indiana playing last night, Eric?
Minnesota.
Thank you, Fife. So Indiana loses last night to Minnesota on the road in Minnesota. Once again, we end up in the same exact situation that we keep ending up this college basketball season, where a ranked team loses to an unranked team on the unranked team's home court. The home court gets stampeded. Hundreds of kids jumping up and down on the court. I mean, it's... Is there any surprise to you at this point with this?
No. It's... If you look, all those teams last night were the home team.
You're saying...
all the winning teams from last night. Minnesota, Xavier, Tennessee, all upset ranked teams. All those teams were home. Tennessee, Xavier, Minnesota were all home. It's the theme we've seen this year in college basketball pretty much across the board. With the exception of the way Georgetown's been playing lately. Home teams are prevailing. The home crowd gets behind you. It doesn't matter if it's a ranked or an unranked. They get behind you, and it just propels them to these upsets.
Gives you that extra energy,
But I think that's the common denominator. If you look at all three of these upsets from last night, the one thing you could say about each of them is they were each the home team.
And I think that's where things get interesting when you start looking at college basketball and the tournament and the conference championships and all that kind of stuff, is the fact that most of these games are all played on neutral sites. Now you're going to see a team like Indiana have somewhat of a leg up, because if they get a 1 seed, they're going to be only a matter of 40-something miles away from where they play their regular home games. And that is the one thing you'll see, is that some of these number 1 seeds may have a slight home court advantage. Yes, I'm doing air quotes on the radio, so if you can't see me, that's what just happened. But bottom line is, that to me is where you're going to sit here and see some of these teams that have had big upsets during the regular season of college basketball maybe not even come close to a win, because of the fact that they don't have that home court backing them up. Look, talent is very important in basketball. Talent even more important when you get into March Madness. But home court can very easily even out talent, the level of talent between two teams. And that's what you saw last night with some of the upsets, and that's what you've seen throughout the entire college basketball season. So now here we are, where this Sunday will mark 2 weeks from Selection Sunday. And you're going to be sitting here saying to yourself, all right, well, the 1 versus 16 matchups, you're still going to expect the ones to win every one of those matchups. You're just, but as soon as you get to that 3 versus 14 and in, good luck. I think your 1s and 2s will probably be safe in the first round. But those 3 and on, some of those matchups are going to become really interesting. And some of those situations are going to become upsets. Maybe we have more than one Cinderella this year. You know, that kind of situation. I would love to see maybe 2 Cinderella teams meeting in like an Elite 8 game. Get one of them to the Final Four. I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes March Madness March Madness.
Yeah, but a lot of those Cinderella teams, a lot of those smaller schools are getting a lot more recognition nowadays than they were even 5-10 years ago. I mean, if you look at the rankings right now, I'm going to pull them up real quick. It's pretty astonishing. I mean, you have teams like St. Louis, teams like Butler, Who else you got? You got Louisiana Tech. I mean, a lot of these teams, even Memphis, even after Calipari left, you figure they took a step down for a little while, but they're playing great basketball right now. 24-3 on the season. New Mexico. I mean, New Mexico is all the way up at 14.
Which is not something that
You
when
have a
this year
team like
started you would have thought.
you have a team Gonzaga that's number 2. So I mean, how many teams I just mentioned right there? Gonzaga. Then you had New Mexico, St. Louis, Memphis, Butler, and Louisiana Tech. You got 6 teams from very small conferences ranked in the top 25 right now. That these would have been Cinderella stories, would have been probably 11, 12, 13 seeds in the tournament 10 years ago. Even with records like this, because nobody thought that they could probably play with the big boys. Nowadays, and I've said this to you I don't know how many times, but across the college basketball landscape, the playing field has really been leveled. It really has. It's amazing to see the level of parity across the nation.
And it's awesome.
And it's almost like you could almost see a team from a big school that you don't think much of right now. Like, take a team like, I don't know, UConn. Would UConn be a Cinderella story? They're not even ranked right now. If they were able to get into the tournament and make a run, would they be a Cinderella? I think the term Cinderella in today's college basketball, you almost have to throw out the window. There's too many smaller schools that are getting recognition. It's not even like a few years ago when Steph Curry was there and you had St. Mary's in the tournament. And he was lighting the world up, and everybody was looking at this kid going, oh, my God, he's awesome.
Yeah. Very
well
true.
before his brother went to Duke. And you looked at them and you said, that's a Cinderella story. Look at this kid play. Now all these teams are getting that recognition. You've also had teams like San Diego State get ranked. You've had other teams out there.
Well, I mean, even like a team like VCU. Two years ago, they're a Cinderella story, and now they're a consistent fixture for competing for a spot somewhere in the tournament. This is the first year I can remember VCU's actually been in the rankings as much as they haven't been in the rankings. I mean, and those are the little things that I think you're trying to get across, is the fact that you look at the college basketball landscape, and it is not your typical powerhouse teams as it used to be. And I think a lot of that's contributed to your one-and-done players. You're not building the kind of dynasty type of teams that you used to be able to. And I think another part of it that is out there is the fact that a lot of these coaches are all coming from the great coaches' coaching tree. The Coach K's, the Bob Knights, the Stoops, to this, to that. I think your coaching in college basketball is getting a lot better as well. I mean, let's be serious. In this week, we should add three or four top 10 teams go down. Kansas should have lost yesterday or on Monday. They should have. The Big 12 officials came out and even admitted that the refs got messed up in the game.
It's human error, though.
No. I mean, it is what it is. And like I said yesterday when we brought it up, it's not Kansas's fault they dominated once it went to overtime. They went in, it got to overtime, and Kansas was the only team that showed up in overtime. It's that simple. You can't do anything about the ref messing up the call. You can only do what you can do playing on the court. So you messed up and didn't show up in overtime. So I won't ever argue with you on that one. Refs make mistakes. It's part of the game. What are you going to do? Especially in today's day and age when you got slow-mo instant replay and you can watch everything at a tenth of a second when refs have to watch it in real action. I do got to say, though, college basketball, I've said this numerous times, and I will not stop saying it, so excited for March Madness. So excited. I think the tournament is going to be awesome. I do.
But again, as awesome as it is, I think you got to throw away the name Cinderella.
And I respect that. I'll tell you
She's
now,
already
though,
been to the bowl, my friend. She's already been there. Everybody knows who she is.
I'm just telling you, if a 16 seed gets to the Final Four, I'm calling that a Cinderella.
No 16 seeds getting in.
I don't think so either. That's why I would call it a Cinderella.
No.